supply issues and fuel shortages have led to empty shelves and closures at petrol forecourts. And the problem is due to a shortage of HGV drivers. Well, joining us now from Hertfordshire is the Transport Secretary, Grant Shapps. So much to talk to you about this morning, Transport Secretary, but let's start with the thing that's square in your patch, the huge concern about fuel shortages, the massive knock-on to the infrastructure of the country and the impact on ordinary people's lives instantly. We know that it's HGV driver shortage, and it feels like across the industry this morning, everyone's told us the quickest, the easiest, the best short-term fix is to relax those rules to allow HGV drivers from abroad to come in and fill the gap. What's wrong with doing that?
I would not rule out doing anything that's going to resolve this at all. Bear in mind the problem has actually come from coronavirus itself, specifically not being able to test drivers, but also the big increase in activity coming out of the crisis. And it's European-wide. In fact, it's worldwide. But in Europe, there's 60,000 shortage. In Germany, there's 123,000 shortage in drivers in Poland. So actually, that may not resolve the problem in quite the way that people think. The real blockage is actually with the testing itself. And that's why we've been working to change the law and massively expand the number of tests available. I'll do whatever it takes to make sure that we can get more HGV drivers on the road.
Yeah, but we know that however hard you work tirelessly to sort, it is not going to provide a solution until after Christmas, is it? I mean, realistically, it just isn't. So if you won't rule anything out, why not do that instantly? Because there is provision for skilled workers, isn't there? You know, ballet dancers, other performers can come and perform here from abroad. Why not accept that we need HGV drivers right now? They are skilled. You wouldn't want an unskilled driver doing the job, and let them in.
So the comparison with ballet dancers, for example, is not actually a very clear one, because we already have foreign drivers on the road all the time. Every day you'll see foreign license plates all the time. They're already able to come here. That hasn't changed. What this is about is people getting through the tests themselves. There are already plenty of Europeans who also have settled and pre-settled status. Something like 6 million of them can already be driving.
Sorry, just to clarify, just to clear up, sorry to interrupt you, are those foreign drivers employed by British companies, or are they, European companies?
Yeah, so those people will be used to seeing lorries with foreign licenses bringing things backwards and forwards. They're able to do work as they travel through this country as well. So yes, they're foreign drivers, but they're in this country. I was just going to say there are 6 million.
But are they working for European countries, or are they solving the problem we have here? You know, BP came to you last week, said there was going to be a problem. We're now seeing the problem with our own eyes. Are they employed by British companies to solve the problem here?
So them being here is already part of the solution, because it helps get goods around the country. So that's the first thing to say. So I just wanted to make clear there are 6 million Europeans with settled and pre-settled status, some of whom will have lorry driving qualifications.
You're answering the question. I don't really understand. I don't really understand why you're not clear.
I'm trying to answer it, but you're not letting me get to the end of the sentence.
Can a British company hire a foreign driver from Europe this morning in order to get petrol to the stations?
Yes, so they're already, out of the 6 million with pre-settled or settled status, there are already many of those people who have HGV qualifications and could come here and could work. So that's one part of it, but it's not the full solution. The actual problem, as I say, because there's a shortage of drivers in Europe as well, in many countries even more extreme, like Poland with 123,000 shortage, is to get people through the testing here. And you said before, but that won't help now. That is actually helping right now, because we've been able to double the number of tests available when compared with prior.
It won't come through to be working. I'm still not clear whether a British company is allowed to pick up the phone and hire a foreign driver this morning to solve the problem.
To somebody who already has settled or pre-settled status, the answer is yes.
OK, but we're already using those. They're active. It's getting the new ones in.
So they won't necessarily all be active, no. And there's another cohort of drivers who already have the driving license, the HGV license, maybe have dropped out of the market. And there's a good reason for that. 99% of drivers are white, male, average age 55. Many are dropping out of the market. That's because their salaries and wages have, over a long period of time, been undercut. So we're very keen to see, and have seen, the market, the wage rise, so they can be paid more for doing this job. And that's the way to actually solve this on a long-term basis. And short-term.
I'm not sure you get... I mean, clearly you're avoiding answering Kate's question, but I think the thing is there's a couple that
I'm really not. I'm just trying
a couple that you can. We know that there's 2,000 servicemen and women who have qualified HGV licences. Are you going to get them involved in trying to fill a little bit of the hole that's been left?
Well, I will look at all of these, and I'm looking at all of these different things, not just whether people drive.
But the problem's now. The problem's happening right now. Looking at it means that you're looking at it's going to happen down the line. Have you not looked at it already, Grant Shapps? Have you not gone, yes, actually, that's a very simple fix. We're going to engage them as soon as possible because we need them tomorrow?
If you let me get to the end of the sentence, I'll be able to explain. There are different things that the Army could be involved with. You mentioned driving. There's also, of course, testing. So that is work which is ongoing. But it's not that I've just been looking at these things and not doing them. I've already changed the law. I changed the law last week. I've taken a series of steps which have already doubled the capacity where the real problem is, which is getting people tested and through those tests, because during coronavirus, those tests were cancelled.
We have a huge backlog as well, though.
Why have we got a problem?
Hold on a second. Sorry. We have this huge backlog from our viewers. What they are saying, and this is the issue with testing, there is a massive backlog at the DVLA. You're talking about HGV drivers that perhaps have left the industry, you want to get back in. They need to renew their licence. There's 10 weeks backlog at the DVLA. So what are you doing to try and help the DVLA process those licences? So these people that you're talking about that maybe we could come back because the wages have increased significantly over the last few months, are you going to put the support into the DVLA to clear that backlog?
That's exactly it. So I've changed the law to allow the DVLA to both prioritise HGV tests, but also simplify the bureaucracy around them. So it used to be the case that you had to take an articulated licence and a rigid licence to it's called the C+E part of the driving licence, separately for HGVs. I've amalgamated that. I've removed some of the testing from the DVLA, so it's done by the training organisations, and we've opened up tens of thousands of slots with other technical changes as well, which have involved changing the law and reprioritising. So yes, those are the things which are enabling a lot more people to now be tested by DVLA.
Which is great, and it was work that was being called to be done. I suppose the problem is, though, is that we have a situation right now, don't we? And with the best one in the world, with all the resources, and we know how tight they are, you put into it, that isn't going to work through for at least a couple of months. It just isn't. So, you know, when you were warned by PP last week, what was the thinking? Why wait? Why not deploy the army? Because at the very least, the images that we're seeing this morning and the tales from people that are panic-stricken that we're hearing this morning is going to cause panic buying. So we're going to have a problem.
So the first thing to say is actually that there is no shortage of fuel at all. The refineries have got the fuel. It is merely the distribution part of it. We take that very, very seriously. But it's important to put this into perspective as well. We spoke to BP last night. They had 5 forecourts out of a total of 1,200 which were closed at the time. And Tesco, who I'm meeting later today, reported similar small-scale problems. And none of the other retailers were reporting those kind of problems either. We're not sitting on this and waiting. We'll move heaven and earth. We'll do whatever is required. I've already got ahead of this by making sure that those additional slots are opened. And it's not the case that that won't take effect for 10 weeks or something. It's actually having an impact today. So even with BP, for example, who don't actually do their own distribution, that's done by a third party that they contract to, they'll have a certain number of people retire each week. They're actually getting more people in to drive than retiring in the last period. They were actually reflecting on what was happening over the previous 3 months, by the way, when they told us this. I think for most drivers, they won't have seen those stresses and strains, but it's very important that we're all over it, and we are.
OK, Grant Shapps, we're going to have to leave it there. Thanks for joining us this morning.
You're welcome. Thanks very much.